Hey guys, it's Joe here. This is next to the last installment of How I Make Fire. Today I'm going to discuss pretty much my main way of making fires. It's with Flint and steel. This is by all my favorite of getting all fires going. And let's see if I mess with this up here. And reshoot again. 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, this is Joe here. Going to be discussing next to the last installment of ways I make fire. Today, I'm going to discuss pretty much the main way I make fires whenever I'm out and about. Mostly, is my all-time favorite is flint and steel. I mean, I've learned, as you can tell, different ways of getting a fire going. In fact, my first primitive fire was with a bow drill. But I had a piece of steel, like from Flint steel, and never got a fire going with it. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. This was well before the internet and everything. But I had the steel. I practiced, and I practiced. I was able to get sparks going. If you see my videos, I get the sparks going easily. But that's besides the point. Is I learned that you need a good tinder to get a fire going. I mean, I was knocking into leaves, twigs, cotton balls, you name it. Didn't get a fire. Once I learned how to get tinder properly made, I kept going and going and going and going. Nothing. And then I read some more, a couple of books and everything, and got a cheapy flint and steel kit, and I realized I needed a char cloth. I needed some type of char to catch the spark. And I thank the fact that I got the bow drill fire going by just learning how to blow tinder into flames. And once I learned how to make char cloth, that was probably the most beautiful moment, in my life of just knocking a spark into that piece of char, having that tinder bottle and blowing it into flames. That was just exquisite. But why do I like flint and steel so much? Well, when I was a kid, I read a lot, surprisingly. And I read, nature stories, outdoor stories, but the book I could honestly say that pretty much propelled me into this bushcraft, wilderness survival, was My Side of the Mountain. And if you read that book, the main character uses flint and steel. And from that, I became obsessed with flint and steel. I wanted to make it. So, it wasn't until about 10 years after I read it, or maybe 5, give or take, that I learned how to make flint and steel, or fires. So, anyways, but there's a lot of stories out there of how to make fires with flint and steel. Books. My Side of the Mountain, Hatchet. That was the next book I read after that, which even made me more obsessed to get flint and steel. And the book Valley of the Horses, Clan of the Cave Bear. Ayla, the main character, uses like iron pyrite and flint to get a fire going. You can go with iron pyrite. It's a pain, but you can. But enough of that. So, I have different steels here. One is, the typical traditional steel. Got my kits here and everything. So, get up here. So, these are your typical steels that you get online and whatnot. This is what's pretty much used. This one I've had for Jesus, nearly 30 years. 30 years of just constant use. You know, a friend of mine gave me this one, but one thing I also like to do, and I'm sure I've seen some of my videos, is I make my own strikers, is a T-striker or hammer striker. I like these. These are great. If you do use flint and steel a lot, you will bark your knuckles up. You know, you're holding it like this. You know, you slip, you strike here, or you strike here. Blood gets everywhere. It gets annoying. But I came up with this. It keeps it, you know, your fingers away from the flint, the chert, or whatever stone you're using to get a fire going from. And of course, as you get better with your flint and steel, that you don't need to strike that whole big surface. You can actually use a smaller surface, of which this is my flint and steel kit. You know, here's my striker. Here's my tin, which I've replaced, my char, and my tinder. Carries around my neck, and you know, it's great to have. You know, this doesn't fit in there. Of course, I have a little kit. I'm glad you like my tea. Dog's drinking my tea. But yeah, I use this a lot. You know, I still use these. But anyways, I digress. So, flint and steel. Now, a lot of people say, well, what do I do if I don't have flint? Any silica rock except obsidian, which will shatter and cut you. But any type of rock with a high silica content, like flint, jasper, agate, quartz. Quartz doesn't throw off the best of sparks, but you can use it, and it's everywhere, just about. You can pretty much almost find it everywhere. Let me demonstrate here. It's kind of hard with the sun here, but I'm not sure if you can see the sparks here. Throws off really, you know, decent sparks. Not great, but if it's all you have, use it. So, now, the advantages of flint and steel is your steel can last a very, very long time. In fact, when I was overseas in Europe, archaeologists discovered a Roman soldier's flint and steel kit, over 1,000 years old, and it still threw sparks. Yes, it was a little bit degraded because it wasn't kept in a, you know, airtight container. But once they cleared the rust off, you know, it struck sparks beautifully. So, let me demonstrate of how you get a fire going with flint and steel. Another advantage is you can pretty much char anything as long as it can catch a spark. People have used punk wood, cotton balls. I use that. Shredded jeans, linen, anything with a high cotton content. Cedar bark. If anyone remember from Alone 1, I believe it was Mitch who charred some cedar bark and to use for like flint and steel. Use the back of his knife. And there's another thing is, yes, you can use your knife to get sparks. It has to be high carbon. Stainless steel will not do that. It will not throw off sparks. There's not enough carbon in it. I can do that. I prefer not to, because it is so easy to cut yourself. It's just, I've been cut enough, and that is just to use your knife as your steel to get a spark. It makes me very, very nervous. Is you throw in fatigue, you're thirsty, you're hungry, sleep deprivation. When you have any of those things go with you, you're not going to be thinking clearly. If you're using this knife, you just might be so out of it, you may use the edge. And even though you may get a spark, you damage your edge, and you may just slice yourself. I have a scar on my finger that took 21 stitches to fix. No, it was not from trying to do that. It was something else I'm not going to get into. Anyways. Let me get to show you how I get a fire going. My flint and steel. I use the one I've had for nearly 30 years. Get the last time. Here we go. What, are you gonna help blow it? Oh, you want some more tea? Good grief, dog. Now, as I demonstrated before, you know, in my other videos of flint and steel, is preference. It's all preference. A lot of people prefer to take their steel up and down like this. You want to strike it in a glancing, sliding way. As I demonstrated, like how I use my flint and steel is sort of like a sliding motion, like this. But as you can see, you want to hold your stone up at a slight angle upward, and you strike like this. Another way is downward motion. I prefer this because a lot of times I've been in rain and wind, and you're like this, you know, you go like that. As I said, it's preference. You could do the same like this, have your tinder, and go like that. Again, it's preference. It's my preference is not to do that. I've had doing it like this before. I've had a piece of spark come up into my eye. It hurt. So that is why my preference is to strike downward. So when you get good, you just get it with one hit. Throw part of the tinder to the fire. I'm glad I have some more tea. Great. Here we go. Woo! Hot! there you have it. It's one of the easiest ways that I know to make a fire, aside from the metal match. Make sure this is out. That gets really interesting if you put it in your pocket and it's still lit. So, now that you've seen how I make fire with flint and steel, the next part is, part 2. Char cloth. So, you've heard me mention this. Use cotton balls. Get this fire up and going first, because we're going to need to use that to get the char going. Even though I have hot coals, it's always best to make sure you have enough. All right. Now, there's 2 types of char. A lot of people will debate here. Use linen or old blue jeans. Case in point, like this. It's not a bad idea. I found a better way to get coals, of which is that when you char it, this whole thing will be, one black mess. And you can just use the whole thing, which I don't like to do. I like to tear off pieces, quarters like this. But the thing I discovered about that is the drawback is you have oil and moisture on your fingertips, whether it be sweat or just whatever it may be. And you do that, you're adding that into the char cloth. That is so permeable with moisture. It loves moisture, it'll absorb it. So, I found a better alternative. Cotton balls. You char this up, and you'll have individual pieces of char cloth. How cool is that? You just take it out. And secondly is this, the flat cloth produces a 2-dimensional coal. The cotton ball produces a 3-dimensional, becomes sort of like a big ball of coal, just, one complete round 3-dimensional coal. And after I demonstrate charring that, I'm going to show you something really cool that if you can't find any punk, you don't want to use your, cut your clothes up, your bandana, whatever, that if you're near a wetland, you could use cattail down. Yes, you can use cattail down. You can char that up, and it turns into a wonderful coal. But let me demonstrate with these 2, and then I'll show you the char cloth of cattail. All right. Mine. My tea. So, the advantages of both is the cotton takes a little bit longer to char. I like to flip it, flop it like a pancake. These just char, leave it as is. So, put that on, and that on. And now, we wait. Okay, I don't know if you could see, but they're smoking and flaming pretty good right now. And that's fine. Some would say, oh, you're burnt, you don't want to do that. Well, to each their own. It's the way I do it. And as I said, this is the way I make fire. So, sorry about that. Soon it'll be done. Okay. Okay, well, they just finished smoking, and I just took them off. Now I'm going to be letting it cool. And once they cool off enough to be touched, I'll show you the char. So, hold on. Okay, well, they finished charring, and here's the blue jeans. Nicely charred. And now, here's the cotton balls. Right there, individual size. So, there you have it. So, with that said, let me demonstrate one of my other favorites when you're near wetlands. Hang on. Okay. I have cattail down. And we all know that it burns really fast. But there's a problem with it. If you've ever done bow drill, or hell, even with flint and steel, is it just smolders. No matter how much blowing you go, it just turns into one big honking coal. So, with that, I took that aspect of thinking, you know, that little frustration factor of why isn't this catching on fire? And I don't know if you can see, it's not burning. But, carefully get it over there. Camera. See that? Smolders. So I took that idea. However, because it's so light and airy, yeah, fun, is what I do. Take like this much here. Pull a little bit out. And just pack it as much as we can get in there. So, you know, it seems like a lot right now, but you take your tin dog and you close it. Now, you throw it in the fire and you're going to want to flip it a few times to cook on both sides. Sort of like, you know, baking brownies in a way. Because if you don't, this part right here is going to be charred up and ready to go. The other part is just going to be a dull brown. So that's why I like to flip-flop it like a pancake. Great installation too. So, and now we wait. Be back in a moment. Okay, excuse me. All right, it has cooled off enough. So, let me show you what it looks like. It looks like a big brick of steel wool. But this thing is gonna take a spark like you wouldn't believe. So Let me bring it over to the shade and I'll show you. We're in the shade, so to show you exactly how confident I am with exactly how well this takes a spark, I'm using the quartz right here and my hammer striker. Break off a chunk like so. Look at this. There you go. And that is one big honking coal right there. That's about the size of $50 about. Ow, ow, hot. And it goes right to the center. When you strike it, when you strike this, it goes right to the center. Oh, wow. Hot, hot. Oh, dang it, dropped it. Okay, here we go. And it burns hot. Really, really hot. So, there you have it. Cattail char. Who'd have thunk it? Well, guys, there you have it. Ways I make fire with flint and steel. And as you can see, flint and steel is pretty much one of my main passions of get a fire going. It's not the easiest, but to me it's most damn rewarding. I just love it. It's just, I love the smell of making the char cloth, the smell, just it all. I mean, it's, I don't know why, it's just instinctive, I guess, but that's something I really enjoy. So, there you have it. Way I make fire with flint and steel. Thank you for watching, and if this is your first time, please hit like and subscribe if you'd like. Thank you for watching.